two halves. Half of the bridge was built alongside the old Tudor bridge, which was then torn down. Then they built the rest of the Hughes bridge here. The reason they chose to build it in this fashion was, if you were to knock down that Tudor bridge without having another bridge in place, you would effectively have cut the county of Yorkshire in half, as this was the major crossing back in Tudor times. As we pass under the central arch ahead of us, if you look up and out to the sides, you can still see the seam mark from where these two halves of bridge were fastened together. It is worth noting that one half of this bridge is actually a few inches lower than the other. To our left-hand side we have the King's Arms pub. It's very similar in appearance to other public houses. The difference is on the inside. King's Arms has a beer loft rather than a beer cellar. That's because the pub is prone to flooding. As you can see, the King's Arms to the left there is painted white at the top and it's brown brick at the bottom. When the record floods of the year 2000 came through town, the high water touched the top of the brown brickwork. So all of the waterfront, as you see over there, was a good few feet underwater. On this section of the river, the left-hand side is known as King's Staithe. And over to our right-hand side, you can see painted on the wall there, Queen's Staithe. Staithe comes from an Old Norse word meaning mooring or landing place. Over the centuries, great sailing ships have come in off the North Sea into the mouth of the Humber. It's there that they have transferred their cargo to barges. These barges in turn bring it up the river to this point, to the warehouses. York used to be quite well connected to the rest of the world in terms of sea trade. In more recent years, the cargo in the barges consisted of cocoa, sugar and dried fruits. These were intended for the confectionery companies of Rowntree's and Terry's and others who used to work here in the town, as chocolate making and confectionery used to be quite big business here in York at one time. Chocolate is still made here today in York, popular as ever. Nowadays the cocoa is brought in by lorry rather than by boat. The cocoa was still brought in by boat as recently as the mid-1990s. One of the largest confectionery companies still operating here today in York is Nestle Rowntree. In its heyday, Rowntree's used to employ 7,000 people, which at that time was roughly 1/6 of York's working population.